Awesome. Well, thanks for meeting with me today and coming here to speak about your career journey. Look, I just wanted to start things off, I guess, and take it a little bit back, all the way back, if you will, to when you were studying, and I guess what you did while studying and how you found the journey to get into your first job.
Well, actually, I was studying advertising at RMIT, and at the same time, I was working in hospitality, which wasn't really conducive to a Monday morning class. But what I was also doing an internship at Life Lounge Agency, which has since been bought by DDB. So I was doing Fridays just from that office, and I actually found I learned a lot more from that one day a week than I did in my whole uni class. Wow. Sorry, RMIT.
Really?
Yeah, it was very much learn by doing, especially as an account manager, or something that I knew I wanted to be was an account manager. That became. It's hard to teach that. It's hard to teach those, soft skills of communication and working together. And
because you probably read about it in textbooks and so forth, but you were kind of like, how do I apply that to anything?
Exactly. Exactly. So I was doing that at the same time, which really helped. And then on the day after I finished my last class at RMIT, Life Lounge offered me an AE role. So I was really excited. Of course, I accepted because I was already kind of there. I could see what they were doing.
How did you get involved in the first place, though? Did you just apply? Like, did you see that they were advertising, "Hey, we need internships," or were you sort of like?
No. I think. This sounds a little bit elitist, but my dad knew Dion Appel, who was the MD there, and he said, "Oh, you should meet this guy. He's got an agency." And I was like, "Oh, I don't know about it." Anyway, I met with Dion, and he said, "Yeah, why don't you just come in one day a week?" So it's very informal, but I mean, I guess right from the start, it's kind of who you know, because those kind of opportunities would come up all the time, but often agencies don't have the time or resource to actually go out and advertise for the role. So I guess
it's also, I guess, a bit about who knows you, though.
Oh, absolutely.
Where naturally I'd say that if, let's say, that didn't happen, you probably would have applied yourself anyway to everywhere you could, right? Like, that's the sort of way I think most people go about it. They just go, look, hey, I'm here, I'm studying.
Yeah, absolutely. But even when I was at uni, I loved having a Friday off. And I was a bit reluctant to give that up. But then I thought, this is such a great opportunity and they seem like a really good team. And I'm glad I did because, it was one day a week, which is not much. But I'm glad I did because I wouldn't have, seen what was involved in the work and therefore known that that's what I wanted to do. Because I think a lot of people just wait until they're done studying and they go, okay, I'll look for an internship, and then it's a little bit more full on. Maybe it's a 3-month internship or something like that. But just getting that little bit of experience while you're studying can just help to validate that, yes, I want to do that. And it prevents those rude shocks that some people get when they enter the industry and go, oh wow, this isn't what I thought it was going to be.
So it's a bit of like a try before you buy situation, if you will.
Well, I mean, it's 3 years of your life studying. You want to make sure you're doing the right thing.
Especially these days, everyone's sort of like in between, do I need to study, do I not need to study? I think it's still very valuable to do so. But like you're saying, it's good to put the feelers out there early and try and get involved with anyone you can, even if it's just a one day a week thing. Because it's going to really show you what the industry is like.
Oh, absolutely. Just shadowing someone and reaching out and saying, can I just come in for a week and do some free work for you guys?
Nice. Well, I mean, you're still going, right? So
exactly,
How did you go after that? How was that leap, I guess? Did you learn a lot with Life Lounge and then just say, okay, this is my time, I'm done? Or how did that look?
Yeah, I did. They went through a few internal changes, so that agency was kind of shifting and there wasn't really a role for me to step up to. So I made the decision that, I was ready to move on, and then I interviewed for Smart, which was part of the McCanwell group at the time. And I got a job as an account manager there, and talk about a rude shock. It was all digital at Life Lounge, pretty much. Digital and activations, or experiential. And on my first day, my managing director said, "Oh, can you put this production timeline together for this TVC?" And I was like, "Oh, sure, easy. Didn't give me a template or anything to work from." I was Googling how to pronounce recce because I'd never seen that word before. But that was very much just straight into the deep end. But she didn't know that I'd never done a production schedule before. And rather than me saying, can you show me how to do this, or can you talk me through this? I just kind of tried to do it myself, which was,
Did you get it all right? Like, did it go okay, or?
Yeah,
clearly,
apparently.
It's good. No, great.
So when I showed it to her, she said, "Oh, just move those dates out." I was like, "Oh, great, yep."
Beautiful.
Yeah,
Okay,
did a lot of Googling
fair
production
play.
schedule.
You kind of, sometimes you have to do that. I've done it before in
Yeah.
my profession. I think we've all, it's funny, isn't it? Because you think, you get a job and everyone's like, expect you to know everything, but sometimes it's just not the case.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm still sometimes Googling little bits and pieces and like, okay.
But just, just ask. That's the thing, like I've told, my juniors today, if I can see them struggling with something, I'm like, can I give you a hand with anything?
People are proud.
Yeah.
They don't want to,
Go, I'm not sure how to do that. And it's usually a very simple thing to try and explain.
Yeah.
But maybe it is the pride, but it's also the feeling stupid for asking the questions, which never goes away.
Yeah. We all want to do well in our jobs, so naturally people get a bit worried that if they do ask a question that might be too simple, and sometimes 9 times out of 10 I reckon they are the simplest question.
Yeah.
We think, oh God, we shouldn't ask this. But I think you're right, it's definitely something just ask. It's
just ask.
So minute, you go, just move that.
Yeah, and that's what senior management is there to do. It's there to help and support, and there's no expectation that you know everything.
Not at all. So from Smart, where'd you go from there?
So from Smart, then I went to T20 Group. So they had this kind of different structure in that they didn't really have a traditional account service hierarchy in that sense. They had what they called client business managers. So they wanted to take the word account out of it because it was much more than just the account. It was actually investing in the client's business and really immersing yourself in the world of what they do. So that was a really interesting change, and that kind of gave me more exposure to the brand strategy side of things. So we started doing workshops there, and that was on a range of different clients, from property to retail to not-for-profit and charities and that kind of thing.
Yeah, right. So it really gave you a broad spectrum on everything, hey?
But that exposure to brand strategy was something that I went, oh, actually, this is something I really enjoy. Yeah.
Cool. Because before that, you hadn't done any much brand strategy at all, right?
No, I hadn't. Smart was very much a little bit more sort of campaign based, and prior to that, it was Lifeline, which was all kind of digital and activation. So I hadn't really had that exposure to it, and then I thought I really enjoyed understanding brands and what made them unique, and kind of putting it into a way that was easy for the client to understand and resonated with them too, because most often clients don't know how to articulate what they do at the core of what they do. Rationally, sure, we make tables or we build iPhones, but from an emotive point of view, or understanding what their values are, that kind of thing, presenting that back to a client is always really exciting. And that's what from there, when I went to Yoke, which was purely digital based, that's kind of why I wanted to move on from there. And then when I started to work at Brands to Life, because there was a lot of brand strategy and workshops and building those kind of brands, which is what I really, really loved doing.
Okay. Wow. All right. So you're at Brands to Life and doing all that now. You finally found, I guess, what your passion is, and you've then moved from there into a senior account director role with ShowPony. So I guess from the AD to SAD role, was that a big jump for you? Was it a bit daunting? Was it something that you were planning on doing? Had you just progressed, naturally into that, or did it just come about?
Yeah, it kind of just came about. I actually stepped across as an account director from Brands to Life to ShowPony, and it was more of a, 3-month probation kind of thing, which is fairly common. And at I think it was my 6-month review, there was a note of, if everything's traveling well, then there's that natural progression to senior account director. So that actually happened quite organically. I would say that the jump from account manager to senior account manager and account director to senior account director is fairly organic. It kind of happens when it happens, and it's generally the team member that generally initiates it to say, I'm ready to take that next step, or what do I need to do to take that next step. I'd say probably the jump from account director or senior account director to group account director is probably the bigger step.
Obviously, that's where you're headed.
And that's where I'm headed. Because it's not so much about you're handling your portfolio and your juniors that work underneath you, but the entire portfolio of clients, and you're responsible for the whole team, and you know, any issue escalation that needs to happen is on you, and
responsibility.
Yeah, it's quite a big step up, but it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, unreal. And I think with what we've just discussed, all of that, obviously in the career journey, thank you again for being here. For anyone who doesn't really understand anything we just said, in summary, can you just give me a rough sort of, I guess, day-to-day of what account management sort of is in a whole, like what you do, if that's
Yeah, I mean, it varies agency to agency. Larger agencies, it's a little bit more, I guess, structured in terms of what an account manager or a client services person does. So in smaller agencies, which is where I've traditionally been, you tend to wear many hats, and you tend to work on different clients and different projects. So one day you might be putting a brief together for a campaign for, you know, an FMCG client, fast-moving consumer goods for those that don't know. And then the next day you might be doing research for this new business pitch that the team are working on. But really, at its core, it's about getting the best creative work out of the agency, which is often kind of forgotten about because you do get caught in the day-to-day of writing estimates and, you know, doing task briefs and that kind of thing. But our job is really to make sure the client's happy, and the way that we do that is by producing really fantastic work. So it's the job of the account service person to make sure that everything's in place, that we're, you know, billing the right amount, that we can allocate enough hours to that job, making sure we've got a really, really solid brief with a great, you know, proposition that the creative team can work from, and just keeping things running, you know, making sure that if there's an issue, we're resolving it quickly, and making sure that everyone's, you know, staying on track. So yeah, it's really about just getting the most out of the agency, and so that we are delivering amazing work for the client.
And it's fun, right? Like, it's not, no two, as you said, you wear many hats, so no 2 days are really the same. Like, it's always bustling, it's always busy. There's so much that you can pick up and learn. There's many different avenues that you can take with it as well. Like yourself, as you said, you didn't even know much about branding, and it was become something that you really loved and enjoyed and followed. So there's lots.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I think I love working in smaller agencies, because once you identify something that you really love doing, you have that ability to kind of put your hand up and say, hey, I'd love to run a brand strategy workshop, or sit in on it and understand what it's all about. And I think that's something that's really beneficial as you're, you know, coming up through the ranks, is if you see something that you're interested in, you know, listen to some podcasts or ask some people about it, or, you know, see if you can write a brief for it, or you know, whatever it is to get involved.
Take the initiative, I guess, and just get involved any way you can.
Exactly. And that's one of the reasons that I'm stepping into this new role as well, is because it is a bit of a dual role, in that it is a group account director role in the sense of managing the team, you know, and being kind of that top level of management to those clients, making sure that the relationships are great. But beyond that, there's also, you know, identifying opportunities with those clients. And most clients don't know that agencies can do all these other things outside of what they're already contracted to do with that client. So identifying opportunities outside of what we're already doing. But also part of my role moving on, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to accept this new job, is that there is a massive brand strategy component of it. Which again, it's not for everyone. A lot of people would just want to do, you know, that thing, which is absolutely fine. But I personally love the balance of client service and brand strategy, which is, what I'm really, really excited about.
Any, I guess, noteworthy career highlights or anything that you think is worth mentioning, that you've done some fun projects or something exciting that just, you know, has happened?
I mean, one of the reasons why I love this industry so much is that, you know, you write a brief, you know, at a certain point, and then 2 months later, 3 months later, maybe a year later, you see that work out in the world. So you get to be a part of that whole process, right from the initial strategy or research or pitching for that business, to seeing an ad on TV or a billboard.
You're like the crazy person, and you go, "That's my thing."
Absolutely. Cool. It's like, you know, if you're in construction or something, you go past a building, you go, "I helped build that." You know, it's something tangible that you go, "I was a part of that," and it gives you this amazing sense of pride.
It's rewarding too, hey?
Absolutely, and I think that's something that's really important, and sometimes people forget, is that being passionate about the industry and caring about, good creative and getting excited about new ads that come out and dissecting strategies and understand how they got there. You've got to be passionate about that kind of stuff. Otherwise, you fall into the trap of the day-to-day, which is easy to do. We've all done it. But
so
yeah,
it really is. Sorry,
it's okay.
just more the process, isn't it, of all of that? And as you just said, when it comes together, it's fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. I do remember that very first TVC job that I had to write the production schedule for, and seeing that ad on TV I was like, that's cool. That's really cool. And that has always kind of stayed with me of, what's that end point? What do we want to see at the end? How do we want it to feel? And what do we want customers or clients or whoever to feel when they see it? Or driving past and seeing a billboard or something like that. Another one was we worked on the the freeze MND.
Oh yeah.
The big freeze.
The big freeze.
So I worked on that at T20, and one of my contributions was the hashtag freeze MND. So when that was trending and the number one trending thing in Australia, I was like, I did that. That's so cool.
All right. Cool.
Yeah.
The trends as well.
Yeah. And I'm not even on Twitter.
Okay, well, cool. As I said, thank you so much for coming and speak with me today. It's been such a pleasure. We've gotten a lot out of it, and we'll see you again soon.
No problem.
So,
Thanks.